Welcome to MCR Conversations, powered by the Level Up Lounge podcast.
This is where we hear from the founders, the designers, and the charities behind the runway.
Michael is the CEO for Project Independence, which is a very important but also interesting charity that's actually put sustainability at heart for those people who are less capable than us. And he will tell you more about it.
Yes.
And is also the newest addition to the MCR family.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
We were reading up on Project Independence, and what a
Yes.
fabulous cause. Trying to give people back their independence and things. But you tell us a little bit about the project.
Sure. It started with the founder. His name is Glenn Keys. Glenn's a philanthropist based in Canberra. He was also the founder of a large international company called Aspen Medical. His youngest son has cerebral palsy. Not cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. He discovered that he had aspiration to own his own home one day. He'd never thought that his son, like his other children, could aspire to home ownership, but he realised he had him a bit of a box, and so he began to sort of rethink his way he related to his son. And this is about 12 to 13 years ago. Long story short, he looked around at what options for housing were available for people with an intellectual disability and found that there were very few, and the ones that there are around were very wretched, really, and thought he could do a better job by just getting involved like a lot of business people, like get in there, make a difference, and put his own money into it as well to make it happen. And
Incredible.
he's a very charismatic fellow and a guy who's able to coalesce a lot of support from other business people in Canberra to start with. We're now going national. We're sort of expanding into different capital cities. But I think that the essence of it is about helping people with an intellectual disability live independently and have the skills and the confidence to do so. They're actually Australia's most vulnerable homeowner group or non-homeowner group.
Wow.
So they tend to get kicked from pillar to post, living in rented accommodation, into really difficult and sometimes quite dangerous circumstances. And many live with their parents who as they age, means they can't look after them any longer. And so these people need to find a place, and often there's not much.
So sad, because it puts so much pressure onto the parents as well.
Yeah.
And, it's quite sad.
That's right. I mean, in a worst case scenario, you're seeing on the Channel 7 news people being tasered in a park because they didn't have their medication, they don't have a stable home to place where they feel safe and secure and accepted.
Yeah.
We're about being part of the solution to that, giving people a place to call home. They can really own equity, not just be rented and shunted from place to place, but they become a homeowner over the years.
That's good, because that gives them their confidence too, and it just makes them feel a part of the community, because they honestly, I know if you're suffering from a mental illness or a disease or born with an intellectual disability, you don't feel like you are part of that community. And this
excluded.
it's amazing.
Exclusion. Yeah, so this is giving them that inclusion.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's it's a bit of the yin and the yang. We sort of do a lot of work around their ability to sort of contribute a little bit of equity each time they pay rent. There's a little bit taken out towards equity, so they own that as it becomes shares in their own property. But also a lot of work around the community. So it's about, yes, you can live independently, but we also are independent, that we need to think about other people. And I know my youngest son, his name is Sebastian, has cerebral palsy.
Wow.
He's a sort of moderate intellectual disability. I look at him and we're constantly trying to work on him to sort of think about other people, think about the family, think about helping out. And we spoiled him in a sense. So when he finally does live independently, we're going to have to help him make that transition. And we work with the parents and the guardians a lot too, to sort of help them.
Let them go a little bit.
Let them
Trust, trust the process and trust. But it's
it.
hard. I mean, do you deal with the parents and sort of the difficulty on that end of stuff? So obviously, you're giving people their independence. But how is it like dealing with the family who've looked after them for, I don't know how old, but 20 years, 30 years, 40 years?
Exactly. I think as much as it is helping the a new resident, a young woman or man to move in and have their own place, it's about giving the confidence to the parents, and sometimes it's not the parents, sometimes the guardian is a sibling because the parents have passed on or whatever. But giving them the confidence that they're being well looked after and catered for, at the same time allowing them to live their own life. And I suppose lots of examples here, but one was just recently, one of our more recent residents was at home with her mum, who she'd been living with up till then. And it said, it was a Sunday night, had dinner, watched a movie. She said, Mum, I need to go home. And she said, well, you are home. This is where you always lived. No, I want to go home to Project Independence. And it was like a moment for her that she realised she was really
Independent.
And that's incredible.
And she's like, and the life that most people do want to live. They want to grow up and eventually move out on their own.
Yep, exactly. Like the same aspirations.
Which is what most people want to do. So that's incredible that she felt that sense of, independence. And how did her mum take it? Was she like...
Very well, in fact. Her dad also took it well. He spoke about it in front of our a number of, we had a signing ceremony, which for people who've now signing to take more, a greater share in equity in their place, to get more shares in their own house. And he spoke at this particular event, which we had a number of local politicians present to sort of be the witnesses. And he was in tears. He said, I should never have asked me to speak, but when I talk about my daughter and see how she now is happy. And that's, I suppose, fundamentally, what do we want to live for? We want to live for love, for happiness.
Yeah.
And people come who worked in other organisations that are like ours often say, well, the residents are happy. You don't see that level of kind of confidence in a group normally. It's usually a little bit more often conflictive or more isolating. So we spend a lot of time on that. And yeah, look, if without the mum or dad or the siblings being involved, it's much more difficult, of course.
How do people sort of get onto this program? Like, what are the requirements?
Yep.
If anyone out there's watching, and how can they, tap into it?
Well, the Project Independence is for people with a mild to moderate intellectual disability, unfortunately we are small. We're always looking for donors and corporate sponsors and others to sort of support our expansion, and government grants for that matter. To this time, we haven't taken $1 of government grants. We were given, fortunately, by the ACT government, 3 gifts of land to start in Canberra, without which we would never start. Yeah. But we're in different locations, but we don't advertise just because we only have, in Canberra at this point, 30 places. When we have advertised even a little bit, we get hundreds lining up. So that the need is really critical,
the demand is there,
and getting worse because people are, saying the baby boom generation, people who've lived with their mum and dad who are now getting elderly or passing away. Large numbers of these people are starting to look for places and can't find it. So it's very simple. There's like a 10% deposit, you could say. It's probably a better word, is sort of holding fee, which is 10% of the capital value of the place they're moving into, of the unit. The units themselves are, depending on the type of design we do, we have greenfield designs, or in other cases we're refurbishing older buildings. Like in Melbourne, we've bought a property in Glen Hutley, which is 15 apartments, and we're refurbishing that. Or we're in a big development with a new developer who might be allowing 5% of social housing in a new, could be independent living for seniors, something like that. We'll be in that. So we ask people to put a 10% deposit down if they. A lot of it about is will this suit a person, and it doesn't suit everyone. So we have a complex kind of process of sort of interviewing people, meeting them, helping them meet the other residents, coming for dinner. It's like getting to know a family, right? So would I fit in here? Do I want to be here? And then if they sort of go through that process and everyone's keen, they have a try before we buy a period of about a year. And then after that, they can buy.
So they can actually live.
Lots of time to change their mind, lots of time.
So they can live there for 12 months.
Correct.
And just see and get a feel of
Just like living in a rental house.
Yeah, just almost like renting for.
That's right.
for So there's that.
So they pay a 10% deposit to come in, and
Yep.
on an ongoing basis, it's 75% of the disability support pension. That covers all their food, all your power, all your
So
utilities.
oh wow, okay.
So
They don't need to worry about any bills.
Nothing, yeah.
So they get a
incredible.
disability pension. So
Yeah.
the pension goes towards the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, that's
So
really
it's
good.
very similar to, I think, the aged care.
Correct.
Sorry, nursing home.
Very similar to that, although
Very similar.
the legislation and the description of what we do isn't defined in legislation. We're actually working with ACT government, political parties to look at ways to define us, because we're not social housing, we're not affordable housing, we're something different, and it's very new. So government says, loves us, but they go, how do we fund you? How do we?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Makes sense.
people either rent usually in this sort of space, right? They rent everywhere. And in our case, we're giving them more power and control and ability to make their own call over time. And years down the track, what we're finding now is it took a while to get our financial model, really strong. So we had a lot of independent lawyers, independent advocates analysing it and critiquing it until we could get it into a point where everybody's rights are really well protected. They know what financially they're going to get from it. But they also contribute a little bit from their NDIS packages. So you'd have to be on the NDIS to qualify to join. And that and a small proportion of NDIS from each resident goes towards paying for what we call a live-in resident coordinator, which is a person, usually a woman, who lives on site, cooks the main meals. It's a little bit like
That's
like
good.
a
house mum, a bit,
like a carer.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
say?
a bit like that. And
Nurse,
but
carer.
yeah, but they certainly need to know how to cook. And so we spend a lot of time around that skill set, but also more big and open ear, and also listening out for how people are going. So if somebody's not coming to dinner, inquiring gently of that person what's going on.
Oh, that's
So,
incredible.
but without sort of invading people's privacy. So it's kind of a really fine balance.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
How many units do you have in Canberra?
Yeah, there's 30 in 3 locations. So we ascribe to the United Nations principles around the optimal life for people with a disability, and that defines deep into the text that living in a association of maybe 10 people in a village style complex is the ideal. So we're stuck with that. Even though, say in the case of one state, they wanted to offer us $15 million to build a much bigger facility. And we said no. We had to say no. It was hard to say no.
$15 million.
You said no to $15 million.
Yeah.
Please explain.
Well, long story short, the national policy requires any new housing developments to add to the national housing stock. So because down there we were refurbishing an old building, we were just changing the content. So people would have rented there might have been young professionals, would now end up being people with an intellectual disability, who, by the way, also get jobs. But because we were replacing that stock, it wasn't adding to the stock. You have to, under the policy, you need to add new buildings to it. And that makes sense for national housing stock. There's not enough houses. But it doesn't make sense when you're talking about a very vulnerable group. So what they understood the equity arrangement. They took a while to get the government over the line, but they said you really need to add an extra level, so you can add an extra 10 people to it. That way you're adding to stock, but that would mean doubling the number, which then disrupts the sort of equilibrium that we established around 10 people. Yeah. That said, we're also, independently of that, outside the physical area, we're adding other buildings where we can for women, targeting women fleeing domestic violence. Or
I love that.
Women
Incredible.
over 50, no super, no savings, sort of women who are living with their kids sometimes in the car parks, right? So we're sort of adding that on, but we do sort of quietly and don't draw attention to that. But the two synergise nicely, because you could imagine there's work and jobs to be had in and around Project Independence.
Of course.
And that would lend itself to someone living nearby. Yeah. Who maybe might do house cleaning or something like that.
Yeah, so it's also giving people job opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's a broader definition of independence. It starts with satisfying the basic needs, as human beings, just to be able to own a piece of land or have a roof over your head, knowing that you can lock the door whenever you want because it's yours, and without worrying about people knocking at the door in the middle of the night. And that would anchor you. And I think that's one of the biggest thing and the things that the Project Independence does is to give that anchor sort of, feeling
Give
to
them that
those
opportunity.
and the opportunity. And from that, you can start building on it as, and then with the broader community and the network that being brought in.
Yeah. We there's all sorts of moments you can sort of present about to sort of give evidence of how effective it is. But I suppose one of them was our patron is the Governor General, Sam Mostyn. She came just quite recently, about 3 months ago, to the first time. And she's not normally going to high-level sort of presentations and different types of events and very formal. But she turned up in tracksuit bottoms and sneakers. And she said, I dressed down deliberately, and she threw her notes out. She was going to speak to some notes. She said she spoke just from the heart. And what really struck us was what struck me was that how disability, there's all types of disability, and sometimes it's very hidden, but it's a natural part of life. It's part of culture, it's part of a family.
Of course,
many families at least, and in a sense, it's a bit like a village. A village naturally, it rears people if it's a healthy village, healthy neighbourhood, like a family, a good healthy family does too. But in her case, it was interesting because her father. She grew up as a teen in Canberra, and her father started a very well-known disability organisation called, now the name's just escaped me, so it's about Sarah. It will come back to me. She started Hartley Life Care. Hartley Life Care, it's called. It's a beautiful organisation that does a lot of work with people with a disability and does some accommodation solutions too, and respite as well. But it just struck me that, that there's a lot of good there in that family, a lot of good in the neighbourhood they created. And you can see the legacy of the fact that her dad was involved in disability, creating a beautiful organisation. Like Project Independence, it was a different era, a different time, doing something different. It sort of tests me to doing good. That people really don't, people want to do good, and people want to support things like this because once they understand it, and often it's business people, others people you think, people make a judgment from a distance. They don't know quietly that the good that people are doing, and Sam Mostyn's a classic example of that.
Comes
Quietly,
family.
it comes with heart.
With heart.
People, and it's really, in a sense, this was what we're doing today, like other similar organisations, were built often by business people that saw an opportunity to help. Not to make money, but certainly it's self-sustaining, and that going to that point that you made earlier on, Sarah, that the sustainability thing is critical. It's one thing to get excited and have that emotional connection and to do good with donating, what have you, but is it going to be there in 10 or 20 years' time, like Hartley Life Care was?
Of course,
After that enthusiasm kind of is gone, do you have the process and system in place that's actually going to power?
And yet to power it to do even, to go further and
greater.
And to grow.
Yeah.
And Michael, you've got a very impressive corporate background. How did you get yourself involved in this?
Well, I was just moving. I've worked in Australian government years ago, federal government, different
I can see the
organisations.
politician side of you. I don't know why, but can you see it? I can see it.
Well, one of my sons is in politics, but not me. No, I mean, working in Canberra's a political city.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't live there without getting involved and sort of in the
the bubble.
Well, there's a certain energy, of course, and most government jobs there, in the end, are work for a minister of some persuasion. But I think, so I worked in government, but I did a lot of time in working in investment attraction, national attraction in areas like food and nanotechnology and other things like that. And I worked in aviation too. There were a lot of experiences I had, tourism as well. And left and joined a not-for-profit industry-driven organisation, which was setting standards in different industry sectors for training and for skilling. I had no background, but I sort of was selected because of my networking ability, I suppose. So I'd sort of moved around and done different things and played a little around in consulting for a little while with one of the economic consultancies in Canberra. And I suppose it was just at a bit of a loose end. I'd come to the end of a contract running a not-for-profit for government, and I thought, where are my skills? Where can I apply my skills to good effect? Still got at least 10 years to go before I retire or semi-retire. And at that time, a friend of mine who's an executive recruiter said that Glenn Keys is looking for somebody. And so we had coffee and hit it off. I'm not sure he's certain he's made the right decision, but we're still talking.
You're the
And we do get on. I think I've learned a great deal from his so that the energy, and I think most of all what I've seen from Glenn is the sort of perseverance against all odds. He never gives up. He's relentless in advocating for people with a disability, and we'll get a no, but we'll just keep on.
His passion.
And I think
very passionate.
I think that you need perseverance in government. When the government and a great deal of patience, because it moves slowly. And so, but often it's a person with that sort of fire in their belly. Not always with a business background, but somebody who can sort of put yourself in the place of of a person who's disadvantaged for whatever reason, whatever sector you're working in. In our case, I suppose in my case, it's easier, and that's why it's because of my youngest son. And I sort of, I get it. It's hard. It's hard, and you also, I think the hardest thing is not even the physical; it's more the mental. Where you see the exclusion, often not even deliberate exclusion of people with a disability, because a person with a disability can be quite confronting. And they have low impulse control. They say exactly what they think.
Which hands down, I think most of society should.
Yeah, well, that's it. So I mean, short answer to your question, I sort of drifted into it, but I know I'm in the right job, because while it can be very, very demanding at times, when you look at these people and you see that, again, happiness, the fact that they're happy and that they're content, and many, when they start, don't have jobs. They don't have the confidence because maybe mum and dad have protected them too much. But after 5 years, 80% have a job. So
incredible.
We didn't
Great
expect
success
that.
rate. That's
Yeah.
great.
That is like, just incredible. I'm like, 80% is like a huge, so working, coming home to their home, and just maintaining a normal work life, a normal life.
Yeah.
Yes.
A normal life. That's just,
And just by starting,
I actually have goosebumps. That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We had a fellow, another group called Embrace Disability, which is a interesting company. It might maybe one in the future to interview, but they couldn't find people to work in their cafe, and somebody said, well, why aren't you calling on people with an intellectual disability? They only need direction. In fact, they're very loyal staff. Once you've trained them up, they don't leave, right, at this stage. And this fellow who started this company, who now works with us quite closely in terms of the food side of what we do, started to employ them, and just by not even because he wanted to do good, it was because he was kind of desperate. Now employs only people.
I love that.
3 or 4 of his employees are our residents.
That's amazing.
And he comes in to teach them, about food, safety of food, cooking of food.
Of course.
What we're trying to get to on the independence side of things is have a dinner party. You want friends over, you want to express love. The best way to express love is through
food and through, that's true. That's very true.
And company too, because you're getting them all together and they're all socializing, and it's
and
great.
conversations they hold each other. You've got a job like this, and how was that going? It was really great.
Yeah.
You should give it a go. And then they encourage each other.
That's right.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
You would never think that somebody would just sit down and think that there's a gap, there's a gap missing for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
To live a normal life. We would think that we have, we have homes and we have hospitals and we have carers that come and visit. But who would have thought their life to live independently was just as important as dealing with the issues that, the disabilities that they carry themselves.
That's right.
Like you would not think it was, you would be focusing more on the disabilities and this and that. But to actually get them to that point is incredible.
Yeah.
Actually incredible. So well done to
Well,
to yourself and to the Project Independence.
yeah, but there's a whole team of people that working on this, and I think the operations people. We've got the marketing and fundraising as well. I think that everyday work, that's the fact that our staff just keep turning up, and often it's the anecdote you hear, that sometimes get tired because it's tiring work, and particularly for those live-in resident coordinators.
Yeah.
But it's a little anecdote. It's a bit like family life, right? So that little interaction that your son or daughter or a resident's had with the staff. Some of them are just hilarious. It can be so funny. But in one case, not so recently, one of our staff thought they'd given offence to one of the residents. Right, they made an assumption, and it was incorrect. And just the fact that our staff member, and I suppose it's our kind of our philosophy, is to sort of respect and don't assume. She apologised. She said, "I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings." It's what you normally do anyway.
Apologise. I mean, could happen to anyone.
And this person just threw their arms around her and sort of hugged her. "Oh, it's okay." She's sort of reassuring her. They're like, they got a lot of love, right? And I think. Well, I can see it in my son, but everybody with an involvement with disability can see it. They have a way of bringing a happiness and a joy to people. They kind of like because they're not they don't wear the masks that we have.
Yeah.
Right? They're just what they are.
Yeah.
It talks to your soul.
I love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I love that. Anything that's soul touching
Yeah.
is
And you can see the smile on your face too. Like it's very rewarding. It's amazing. Yeah, just really.
So tell us your 5-year plan and how our viewers could be part of by coming to My Charity Runway to come and support the charity, not just to raise awareness. How could we help you to fulfill the next milestone?
I think for us, we've actually just finished developing a 5-year strategy. We've been in existence now for going on just 12 years, and we look at that phase as being like our startup. It has those periods, whether you're in sort of technology or you're in social impact like us, have their difficulties and their problems. We're now at a sort of stage where we want to bring this experience to every city of Australia, or each capital city to start off with. Although in Queensland's case, we've got 2 projects where one's from Toowoomba, which is a regional centre. And what we're finding is, in each of these in all locations, we want to go to Perth and Adelaide as well, and other larger cities. There are people who don't have options. They're looking for an option. They're looking for something, and they might have skills as well. They might just have a need because their son or daughter needs to find accommodation, or they might have a skill where they want to get involved in helping us. And so in that expansion, we do it very organically. We find organically people approach us and say, "Are you going to start here, or would you start, or when will you start?" And we start to coalesce a committee, like an organic, might one day become the board.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it's like a committee, sometimes with professionals, some doing pro bono work for us. So we're looking for all the time for people who have a need, of son or daughter often, who needs an accommodation option. But also for developing it means we build stuff, so it's about builders or developers who want to get involved with us, partner with us, through to corporate sponsors. It's expensive to build a building or to refurbish, and so and to maintain. So we've been very fortunate that organisations such as the Snow Foundation, which is a very large philanthropic organisation, that was started by Terry Snow, who was originally a Canberra real estate agent. And it also does a lot of work in Sydney, have supported us to get through that difficult phase. But now, so we're looking at all the time, I suppose, around people who have that lived experience and want to get involved and offer pro bono advice, accountants, lawyers, builders, it's about everything really. But also to look at ways to raise to raise funds for us. And I think My Fashion Runway is it's a unique take.
My charity
I'm not
runway,
I'm not a
yes.
fashion person. I've got relatives
I
who
couldn't
are artists, but I dress by someone else. Yeah, but I know people are, again, it's about giving people a sort of fresh take on raising funding for us. I mean, we do the standard things to raise funds, of course, walkathons and cold calling, what have you. But the richest experience is that one where you're involving a rich human experience, like fashion,
communities.
yeah, or could be we do a lot of food based ones as well, with a chef or something like that, drawing attention to something, but also with a serious message.
Yeah.
So I sound very existentialist here, and I'm not. But just this quote from Dostoevsky, who was a Russian philosopher, was "The beauty will save the world." He said, I was actually talking to Sophia about this. He makes this quote. It's a very interesting quote. They asked him a little bit what he meant by that. I mean, he's saying that life is beautiful. That it's how you see life. And
exactly.
And the opportunities that you're given to do good. And it might be money, might be a donation. We're always welcome donations. We get sometimes donations come out of the blue.
Where can people, I'm sorry to cut you off, where can people donate if they wish to?
They can go through our website, certainly. But, for the My Fashion
charity
runway, I think it's, for this event.
Yep,
I think it's
for the event, it's definitely
it's where
getting their
really
tickets.
nice,
you purchase the collection, and the designer will be designing for you.
Of course.
And then by wearing something fabulous, and then you know that you're actually fulfilling the dream of someone who's about to own a home and who's got the collection.
Yeah, I tell people, like,
disability.
what do I wear? And I said, look fabulous or no entry. That's it. That's the key.
Yep.
Key.
Yeah,
That
100%.
prerequisite for the event.
Yeah.
Look fabulous.
I think that obviously for us it draws attention to us, and that's always good.
It was raising awareness. I had no idea that this association
Initiative.
even existed.
No, neither did I.
So through My Charity Runway,
right.
we
Through
have
Sarah, we
discovered
discovered this.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we're here. We're here to raise awareness for amazing
And then the
charity.
next step is for you to come to the runway,
Yes,
and then to have this one-on-one, actually to keep the story going.
keep the
and
story flowing.
experience it and meet Michael on the night.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
especially if you've got a family member or if you've got a story to share, and
be
that's
incredible.
where how we can all connect on a
And
human
people
level.
connect, especially when you've got. But I've got another question for you for the runway. Are you walking the runway, Michael? Are you
Too
walking the runway?
Too old and no style.
No? Style we can work
yeah.
on. Never too old. Never too old.
I'm
no-
sure the chosen or the designer will be styling you on the night.
Definitely,
Yeah, I'm sure.
definitely. I mean, that's honestly, you've touched our hearts.
Yeah,
That's,
definitely.
honest, honest.
We absolutely love this because what we often see with our charity clients, it all started with one founder or passionate human
Yes.
being
And it spreads.
who, because either they saw a gap in the market or they look around and they couldn't fill up that gap, or because they've got a family member who's actually infected with it, and they just feel like I'm in the position to do something, and if not now, when?
Yeah.
And then they just get started. Then they have people like Michael who can become part of the team to keep growing it. When we see ultimately to see the smiles on this,
Yeah,
this
I
people's
know.
face
Yeah.
and the independence they've developed over time, the confidence, and then the world is the oyster. Like literally.
so rewarding. Actually,
right?
so the concept behind it is so
Yeah.
rewarding.
What we also want to see is life in 20 years. We should definitely do a documentary by then.
That would
Yes.
be
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
That would be great. And how far you've expanded
Yes.
from the 30 homes to God knows.
There's a few
Hopefully-
organisations interested in doing a documentary on us, because a lot dating on the spectrums to generate
Yes.
a lot of interest.
Oh,
Those few
Yes.
organisations have said that they'd love to run a documentary on just daily life.
Yeah, it would be
we've got some
very
huge
interesting.
some huge characters.
Oh, I could imagine. I could imagine. I
Like
could
that
imagine.
just raw footage, those
Yeah.
raw smiles and those connections. And I think that's all brings back
Priceless.
to, so if we say that we're the innovator in the fundraising industry, and I think what a Project Independence has done is really having the sustainability at its heart, and then to start with that platform, and then we can go see great things to happen from that.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Love
a
that.
pleasure to have you on board, being part of
Definitely.
my charity
We're
runway.
So,
Thank you,
yeah, we're
thank you.
very excited to have you
Yeah.
as part of it.
Yeah.
And does anyone have any other questions?
Do you have any fashion questions for us?
Not really. I'm looking forward to this, to the whole experience.
It's
I got to
gonna
say,
be
I
incredible.
really I was fascinated by the first event we did with the
Yeah.
the movie.
Yes. How did that make you feel?
Yeah, you
Um,
came to our Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
event.
look, it was. Look, you're seeing people in the fashion industry there. I think
Yeah.
it was like a window on another world.
Yeah.
I do pay attention to the Met Gala when you see it on TV.
That's right. The Met Gala was
So,
just the week before.
$100,000 for one ticket, isn't it, or something? They're getting in their door.
300,000, I think.
But
Ticket.
is it?
Yeah.
And that started just with a simple idea. I suppose somebody in the marketing department of the Metropolitan, if you've ever been there, it's just let's go and see pictures and do a fundraiser with wine. And that's
Yeah,
doing something.
and we just
Didn't know where
create
it
a
was gonna
different
end up.
theme every year. This
Yeah.
year was Fashion is Art. And
Yeah. So it's just like I think my spouse is really into fashion, and so I've sort of learned a little bit about this.
So now we've
Can't wait
learned
to meet
So
her.
now we've learned who dresses you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Definitely.
So that's exactly right. We wanted to bring that level of experience to everyday person who's doing good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Once you've had that experience, you can't walk away without thinking about the night and that good feeling being associated with the charity and the designer and the fashion and the community. I'm so excited for it.
Yes.
We're very excited.
We are excited.
Just last words, and do you have anything to share with anybody out there not really sure whether they should get a ticket to come to our Met Charity Runway?
Yes.
Look, if it's anything like that, the event I went to last month, it's definitely worth coming. It's entertaining, and it's also great to meet people who've got motivated to do good, and in a new area, completely in fashion. I'm sure people in fashion do a lot of good, but this is one where you just
Me
by
too.
the normal practice of creating beautiful clothing, you some of those dollars by doing a purchase you are going to do great things. So it's a bit like Sombreros, which started in Canberra, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Every meal produces another meal that goes to somebody in need, right?
Yep.
So you can feel good, not just for the person looking great, but you end up helping somebody.
Such a good
Yeah.
cause.
who's
Such a
interesting.
good feeling,
Yeah.
I should
Yeah.
say. And we take so much honour in being part of it and
Yeah.
feeling that love and feeling the how much we're giving back.
Yeah.
Well, not we, as in the people who were attending on the night.
Yeah, and I feel like the people that are attending are all approachable and they're all there for the same reason. So we're all on the same level. We all have the same values and it'll be a great night.
Because it's not just there for the fashion.
That's right.
It's
yeah.
for the fashion with the purpose.
Purpose.
Exactly.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and the runway is only the start.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much for including us. We really appreciate it.
No, we love having you on
Yes,
board.
it was great.
For anybody wanting to have a little bit more information on this amazing runway, mycharityrunway.com.au, and we'll see you guys there.